Hey guys, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day for living. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? So today is an absolutely beautiful day here in Maryland. Again, as I say, the weather temperature goes up and down, and today it's like 70, so I'm in my t-shirt and I have my sexy little shorts on here. So going out, doing a nice little stroll. No hat, no coat, none of that kind of stuff. Absolutely awesome. So today it's like 70 some odd degrees. Tomorrow is going to be like 75 degrees, and then the day after will be 80, and then the day after that will be like high 50s or something. But you know, at least for now we can really enjoy the weather. Since we've got nice weather going on, I figured I'd show you guys the fishies. So let's see if I can show you guys the fishies. See, those are our fishies. So when I talk about our fishies, those are the fishies. We've got to get a better filter on our pond. That is going to be one of the projects this year. But yeah, when I talk about our little fishies that we come down here to see, that is our collection of koi. Our collection of koi. Again, one of those weird little life lessons I will tell you guys is that if you live in a kind of like wildernessy area type like we do, where there's a lot of outdoor critters, especially birds, make sure if you have a pond and you're going to stock it with fish, you buy big fish. When I say big fish, I mean like the minimum size of your fish should be at least like 6 inches, and probably even bigger than that. So in the pond, like back in the day, we filled that thing up not just with koi. So we've had about 20 koi, which are a decent size. But then I also just wanted like an insane amount of goldfish. So I bought a lot of goldfish at one point, probably about like 60, literally 60 goldfish at one point, you know, little guys. And yeah, all the goldfish are gone. All the goldfish are gone. And the reason is because we have these great blue herons that come in, and they come into our pond, and they consider our pond a sushi bar. And so basically for them, they go after anything that is small enough for them to actually be able to eat. So the large koi are in fact safe, and the very small goldfish are, well, food. And so again, one of those random things to think about in life, like with business and all that kind of stuff, is you think goldfish are less expensive. It's like koi are expensive. Koi are like anywhere between, I don't know, $40 to probably $300 you pay for one koi. And you think about it, you're like, oh, Eli, that's ridiculous. I can only afford goldfish. But here's the deal. If a goldfish costs like $3 or $4 a piece, and you buy 50 of them, that's still $200. And if they all get eaten, well, then you still don't have anything. You know what I'm saying? Like buying one good-sized koi for however much money, or 2 good-sized koi for however much money, and at the end of the year, you still have 2 good-sized koi. You buy 50 goldfish for the same price, and at the end of the year, you have no goldfish. Again, one of those lessons in life, one of those things to think about. But this is absolutely beautiful. I do love Maryland and this time of year. Like there's like specific times of the year when Maryland is really nice, and it's basically like in the spring and in the fall it's really nice because you get weather like this, 70 to 80. There's a nice humidity in the air. Like Maryland is or Baltimore area is a very humid place, but like in this time of year it's like a nice humidity. It feels very comfortable. Of course in the winter it just gets balls cold, and in the summer then it gets to 100 degrees with like 100% humidity, which kind of sucks. But this time of the year is absolutely great. Now, as far as the whole exercise program is concerned, I'm very happy, very proud to announce we got to a new low today. So I am now officially in the 200s. So weighed myself, we're down to 200s. Again, I think that has a lot to do with portion control again. Not restricting myself on eating, just kind of thinking about what I am eating. And so by doing that, came down a little bit. If we can stay down there, I'm kind of happy with losing like 2 pounds a week, really. Because I think I have, so right where I'm at now, I have 25 pounds to go, right? So approximately 2 pounds a week. You know, that gets me 12 weeks. That gets me like 3 months from now, which really isn't too bad. So I think just sticking with like a 2 pound or so a week should be a good deal. That should be relatively easy. So just gonna keep going. Very happy going off and doing the spin class this morning again. If you guys don't do spinning, you should do spinning. Again, very happy that went there this morning and I was really excited about it, really happy to go. Second day in a row of me driving, my wife and I there. And I really wanted to. Like, I woke up in the morning and I felt good. I'm like, yeah, let's go do spinning. And I do have to say, as far as weather is concerned, being a little bit warmer makes it a lot easier. So it was still only 45 degrees today, which is, you know, still pretty cold. But it was just warm enough, right? When you go out in the morning, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's 30 degrees. It's actually freezing. Oh, you don't really want to leave the house. You don't really want to get in the car. But I did fine this morning. Just simply kind of being at that 45 degree temperature, it was functionally a lot easier to get out of the house. So again, one of those random things to be thinking about, like a lot of times getting into things like exercise or whatever, it has to do with environmental stuff, whether you want to do it. So if you try to do exercise, let's say as a New Year's resolution, and you couldn't keep up with it for like the gym, just think about, you know, now as it's starting to get a little warmer, maybe it'll be easier to go to the gym. Again, like I said, it really was. It was kind of interesting this morning. Just being that 45 degree. It wasn't like balmy or anything, but it was just warm enough where I didn't feel like absolute crap. I just didn't want to curl up into a ball and not go, right? Anyways, did the spinning thing. Again, feeling pretty good with spinning. We did a full hour of spinning today, and I'm feeling better and better and better doing it. Starting to get into the pattern, starting to feel like I'm not gonna die when I do it. So that's overall a good thing. So on this whole idea of exercise and weight, I wanted to talk to you guys about toning today, and toning your body and your mind, because this is an interesting concept. Again, this is one of those things, like I just wander around in life and learn new stuff, and then go, this kind of pertains to a bunch of other things if you think about it the right way. So, getting into the whole exercise routine, one of the things that I was looking at is how to tone muscle, right? You know, how to get that nice body going on. So, since I am, and again, however stupid it may sound, I understand it may sound stupid, but I really am like famous at this point, right? And you know, the more I meet people and the more I'm doing things, especially like I say when television approached me a couple of times, you know, one of the things that I'm looking at is, well, you know, maybe just being in a better looking shape would not necessarily be a bad thing for me. You know, just having a little more cut muscle, just, you know, a little, you see a little, you know, have a little, I'm not saying a 6-pack. I'll take a 4-pack. You know what I'm saying? Like something looking decent. So I was going on, and I was looking up the idea of toning muscle. So toning muscle is when you make your muscles and you can see them all ripped. You see all those different muscles and all that. And so I was reading about it. And what I really liked is when I researched toning muscle, like the first 3 articles that popped up basically were written written by people that seem like a lot like me. As in, you know, they're kind of like the me versions of working out. And all 3 of them basically said point blank, you can't tone up muscle. And then they made a lot of snarky comments about it. And basically what they were saying is when you talk about toning up muscle, you're not really doing much with the muscle itself. What you're really doing is you're getting rid of the fat on top of the muscle. So like when you look at people and they all look all ripped, that doesn't necessarily actually mean they're that strong. It doesn't mean that they've got good muscles. What it means is they don't have very much fat over the muscles that they do have. So like anybody who's done martial arts, or anybody, you know, you gone out there, you'll see like a lot of these like really thin people. Again, I mean, you can you can basically just push them over, no matter how good they are at their martial art. But you know, they're like ripped. You look at them, they've got, you know, those 6-pack abs, and you can see all their muscles and everything, but they're not necessarily actually that strong. And so the argument, but basically, that these posts were talking about is that when people talk about toning muscle, what they're really talking about is getting rid of the fat on top of the muscle so that everything is more defined. Now you're probably sitting there and you're thinking about it like, okay, well, Eli, this is an interesting reason to be snarky again, but what does this really have to do with anything? Well, the reason it's interesting from a psychological standpoint is because there is a difference between when you think about something intrinsically. If you think about toning muscle, when I say toning muscle, think about the activities that you correlate to toning muscle, right? So if I say I'm going to tone muscle, what do you think about? You think about doing curls. You think about doing bench presses. You think about doing weight activity, right? I'm gonna tone muscle. Now, on the other hand, basically, you're trying to accomplish the same goal, but instead of saying you're going to try to tone muscle, what you think about is that you're going to try to eliminate fat, right? So basically, instead of building muscles, you're thinking about getting rid of the fat that's on top of the muscle. Well, if you think about just burning fat, then you do cardio. Like, cardio is the way to go, spinning, right? You know, spinning or biking or kayaking or running or whatever the hell is the way to go. And so why this is important is because you have an idea of what you want to do. You have an idea of the goal that you want to accomplish. But the words you use to define that idea can veer your mind in a direction that is not necessarily appropriate. And so this is where, like, you go to the gym and you see like a lot of these people that are just beasts, man. I ain't saying shit. These people are beasts. They can go, and they crack my skull open. But you look at them, and they're really, really, really strong. But they're also really flabby all at the same time. You look at them, and it's like, yeah, I mean, they're doing massive curls and all that kind of stuff. But there is no definition on their body. It's all just, I mean, they've got strength. And so something to be thinking about is, you know, if you have a goal and you define it in a certain way, that's going to lead you to do a certain type of activity that no matter how much of that activity you do, will never get you to the goal, right? So, I mean, like with lifting weights, I suppose at a certain point it will get you to the goal. But realistically, it's just if you're trying to tone the muscle, if you're trying to have that look, that's not going to get you there. And why I find this interesting is like going to the gym, it's really kind of curious to see like all the fat people there on the weightlifting machines. And again, I'm not fat shaming anybody, believe me, I've got some weight on me. As far as my Fitbit is concerned, I am now overweight. I am now at like 29.9% BMI, or 29.9 BMI instead of 30. So I'm no longer obese, I'm overweight. So I can say fat. And also when I say fat, again, it's not like, oh, these people are like 3 pounds overweight or something. It's one of those where you look at people and you're wondering like how many hundreds of pounds overweight they are. You know, you're looking at them and you're going, huh, I wonder if that person is 100 or 200 pounds overweight. Huh, I wonder if he's actually over 200 pounds overweight. And again, once you start thinking about them being overweight in the hundreds of pounds, there is no shame involved here. It's just simply, these are big boys. These are big boys, these are big girls. They be fat no matter how you cut it, right? But the curious thing is you go in there and you see a lot of the people, and again, and this is one of the things to be thinking about too, like when it sounds like I'm being snarky. The question is though, is you have these people going in there and they're trying to do activities to make themselves healthier, to make themselves better, to lose weight. But then you see a lot of these folks and they'll be going there and they'll be going to the weightlifting machines, right? So you'll see just huge, just again, like literally like morbidly obese folks. Hold on a second, I have to build myself a little bridge here. But they're morbidly obese folks and they're sitting there on these weightlifting machines. And the thing is again, lifting those weights probably isn't going to actually get them the goal that they're looking for. Because one of the things a lot of people don't really realize is fat people are usually pretty strong. There's this idea that fat people are weak. And again, I guess it depends with everybody. But a lot of these fat people actually have a crap ton of muscle. And you may sit there and you're like, oh, Eli, you're just being politically correct. No, don't get my feet wet. And the thing is, I'm not being politically correct. It just goes back to that idea I talked about before, about that when you're overweight, like imagine carrying around the same amount of weight that you're overweight. So if I'm 30 pounds overweight and people say, oh, you don't need to lose anything, all I say is, well, go pick up a 30-pound weight and then drag that around for a day and then tell me I don't need to lose 30 pounds, right? Again, like basic logic here. And so again, for these people, you go, oh, they can't be strong, they're fat. But you look at them, and again, mother fudder. If you are dragging around 100 to 200 extra pounds and you get yourself out of the house, there is a lot of muscle under there. I can't even imagine what that would be like on my body. I mean, like I said, I'm literally like at the 200 level right now. So you think about putting 100, just a pure weight of 100 pounds on me. And if I could move at all, you gotta think there's a lot of muscle under there, right? So it's curious is you see a lot of these fat people go in there and they're sitting there and they're lifting weights
And you wonder, I mean, again, maybe they are trying to be the fat weightlifters. But you think about it, if they're trying to do exercise and they're trying to burn off all the calories and everything, it's just a very ineffective way to do it. Essentially, they already, and this is something to be thinking about, they already have the muscle. They don't realize how much muscle they already have. They already have the muscle. At least at this point, them working out on these weight machines isn't really going to do a whole lot for them. What they really need to be doing is the cardio. The cardio is what's going to burn off the fat. The cardio burns off the fat. You've got the muscle underneath because you're still exercising a lot. And basically you come out of it doing a lot better versus sitting in the weight machines. And again, weight machines just burn less calories generally. And so one of the things I want you guys to be thinking about when I talk about this whole toning thing is, again, the thing is psychologically think about what you're trying to accomplish. And then think about the words that you're using. And are you being self-defeating simply by those words? So the big problem I see, like I say, with a lot of you guys. So I do these Skype meetings. I've done, like, again, somewhere around 200 of these Skype meetings, plus talked with like 40 people while I was on the road. And one of the big problems that I see with a lot of people is that they have this idea of being a technology professional. Eli, I want to do IT. I still don't understand what the hell doing IT is. Doing IT is kind of a funny thing, because like when I heard it once, and it was like from some Somali guy, so it's like, okay, that's just ESL, is English is a second language. But then I've been hearing more and more people say it, and English is their first language, like do IT. I want to do IT. Like, I don't even know what the hell that means. You want to have sex with a weird, creepy clown creature that's gonna eat your head? Stephen King reference. I'm not even sure what do IT means. You get a lot of people like, I want to do IT. And basically the idea is that they want to become a technology professional. They want to become an IT professional. And so again, you're sitting there and you're like, well, that seems really sensible, Eli. They want to become an IT professional. Why the hell are you going to get snarky on them about that? You're just, oh, Eli, what's wrong with you? Well, here's the problem, because what they want to do is they want to become an IT professional. They don't want to get a job as a technology professional. There is a fundamental difference between simply being a technology professional versus having a technology job. And so most of these people want to be technology professionals. Now you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, Eli, what does that matter? Again, okay, you're being snarky again, you're being mean. They want to be technology professionals, potato. But it's not. It's not potato. It's potato tank. Because the thing is, if you say you want to be a technology professional, the problem is that you're going to go in and you're going to train and you're going to do all of these things to get certifications to make it look like you're more of a technology professional. You're going to go and you're going to get your MCSE and you're going to get your A+, and you're going to get your CCNP, and you're going to get your college degree, and you're going to work day in, day out for all of these little gold stars. You're sitting there, you're thinking, well, Eli, isn't that what you're supposed to do to be a technology professional? No. To be a technology professional, what you have to do is solve business problems using technology. An MCSE does not make you a technology professional. A college degree does not make you a technology professional. None of that makes you a technology professional. What makes you a technology professional is when the boss calls you in and says, this system, this workflow that we have is incredibly inefficient. I have heard there are systems, there are electronic systems out there that will make it more efficient. Go find one of those electronic systems, install that electronic system, teach us all how to use it. That is a technology professional. And so the biggest problem that I see is with everybody. I just talk with so many people, and they're so focused on all these certifications and these college degrees and this gold stars and all this crap that doesn't really fundamentally matter, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to tone their IT muscle. They're trying to tone their IT muscle, and so in order to tone the IT muscle, that's what you're doing. They're doing the weightlifting of the IT world. You're MCSE, you're this, you're that, the other thing. When that is not what's actually important. What is actually important is going out there and fixing problems using technology. You go out there and you find somebody who needs a website, and then you build them a website. You find people who need servers installed, and then you install the servers. You find people that need this and that and the other thing, and then you go out there, and that is what you do. And when you do that, you are then a technology professional because you're actually getting paid. That is your job now. And so this is just one of those random things that you see in life where, again, it's just the semantics in people's head. Do you want to be a technology professional or do you want a technology job? If you want to be a technology professional, you're going to go off and you're going to do all of this stuff. You're going to get all this paperwork and all that. If you want a technology job, it may not be the case. You know, I was talking to somebody about this today. They work in video production. And they find it really interesting, this whole idea of like SANs. So SANs and networks and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, we were sitting there when having this discussion about what they should do next, you know, certifications or this or that or the other thing. One of the things I told them, I was like, look, if you're going to be dealing with large data, the important thing to understand is what industry you're in, what vertical you are in. And then once you understand what vertical you're in, you simply go out there and you learn the technology that you need to know in order to do it. And the thing is, like if you're dealing with SANs nowadays and the basic networking and all that kind of stuff, you don't need certifications, you don't need college degrees, you don't need any of that kind of thing. You need to go out, you need to find companies that are actually using this technology. You need to kiss ass, be an intern, do whatever in order to help work on that technology, learn that technology, and then go out and replicate that other places. Oh, do you have experience dealing with, you know, raw video footage from 3 sources or whatever? Oh yes, I dealt with that project before, right? And that's the thing, is just going out there and doing the work is going to make you more successful. And then, as I say, you know, remember, in the technology world, it's all about experience. What really gets you jobs is experience. So you go out and you get your MCSE, you get your degree, you get all these brownie points. You know, you're lifting those weights of credentials. But people really don't care. That's really not, it's not what bosses and employers really care about. What they care about is, can you do the job? So you have the exact same person who goes out there, and instead of worrying about all the certifications and everything, they go to the people they know and they say, hey, what technology problems are you having? Can I solve that problem for you? And will you pay me a couple of bucks to do it? And then you do that again and again and again and again. At the end of 2 years, where are the people going to be at? You know, think about that really fat person, right? Think about that, you know, 100 pounds of fat. Now, if you go and you do cardio and you eat pretty well, you can actually lose a surprising amount of weight, right? As long as you're doing it properly. I mean, and even, let's say 1 pound a week. Let's say 1 pound a week for somebody like that. Well, at the end of 2 years, if you're going out there and you're doing the cardio and you're really burning those calories, then in 2 years you've lost the 100 pounds and you're all good, right? You know, during the entire time you've lost a couple, pound or so every week, and you keep going, you feel healthier, and you keep going with it. Because what you're doing is you're burning the fat, and then again, you've got all those fat person muscles underneath, and those come shining out, and you're looking good, right? And again, I've actually seen this. I've seen this with where obese people lose a lot of weight, and as long as they do it right, they come out pretty damn buff, to be honest with you. But then you take the other person, who again does like the weightlifting thing, because that's how they feel like they're going to tone the muscle, and again, they don't really get anywhere, because they keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. But that isn't what burns calories very well. So they keep getting stronger, which in some ways may actually help add a little bit of weight to them. And then they keep looking in the mirror and they don't feel like they've gotten anywhere. And so after a year or 6 months or whatever, they probably give up, right? It's the same thing that happens with a lot of you guys. You're going out there, you're getting the certifications, you're doing all this stuff, and then after 6 months, you can't find a job and nobody cares about you. After a year, you can't find a job, nobody cares about you. And so again, you give up. It's not about failing. Again, you can't fail. Well, again, very rarely do you fail. I will admit, you can fail. You can fail, but very rarely can you fail. The real problem is giving up. And so that's what you need to be thinking about. And again, like I say, with that whole, the whole weight loss thing in cardio, is if you're trying to lose weight, again, like with me today, woo, I'm down in the 200 range now, right? You know, the more success you have, the more motivated you are to keep doing it, right? So if you have somebody, again, somebody's overweight, they're losing weight, you know, they lose a pound this week, they lose 2 pounds next week, they're going, that's motivation, that shows what's going on. But the same is true in the technology world, right? Think about that. If you go out and this week, let's say you fix your grandma's computer, again, I'm not talking about great big things, I'm not talking about changing the world, I'm talking about you fix your grandma's computer. And then you feel pretty good, because darn it, you fixed your grandma's computer. Now again, for somebody like me, that seems goofy, but hey, for you, that's a real computer you fixed. That is a real human being and a real computer you fixed. You feel pretty good. It's the equivalent of losing a pound. It's equivalent of losing a pound. Then you go out there, and since you fixed your grandmother's computer, maybe you have other family members' computers. So the next week, you fix 2 or 3 or 4 other computers, right? Go and you do antivirus, you fix the printer driver, just stupid stuff. But again, what you guys don't understand, especially in the Windows world, is what you deal with at the home is a whole bunch like what you deal with in the enterprise. And when you understand how client computers work, it's a whole lot like how server computers work, right? So you start getting this experience, and it's real experience. And so you fix 3 or 4 of your family members' computers, and then you tell your friends, this is what you're doing, and they're like, oh crap, my computer's broken, can you fix it? So then you go outside the family. Now you start out fixing friends' computers, and then you're fixing a friend's computer, and the person says, hey, you know, I really appreciate you doing this, especially for 20 bucks or whatever you charge. By any chance, you know, I'm part of this church group, and we have this old volleyball tournament thing, and we really need a website designed. You know, I know it's different than computer repair, but by any chance, do you do web design? You go, well, you know what? I haven't done in the past, but I think I can do it. Come on, Eli, the computer guy, does it. He's half a moron, at least that's what people say. So if Eli can build a crappy little website, I can build a crappy little website. And then you go and you build a crappy little website. And then you build that crappy little website, and people go, oh wow, that was kind of nice. I don't suppose, could you build a crappy little website for us too? And you go, no, I will not build you a crappy little website. I'll build you a decent little website. And then you do that for a couple of people, and they keep going and going, and again, every day, it's equivalent to losing that pound. Every day or every week, you just do a little more and a little more and a little more. And how do you think you're gonna feel in 2 years? Where do you think you're gonna be in 2 years? In 2 years, you have one person who's just gone down the certification track. All they've done is study, 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 study. They've gotten really, really good at passing tests. And we all know, if there's one thing IT professionals love, it's snot-nosed that have passed a lot of tests. That's just a wonderful thing. Or you have the guy that has spent 2 years actually doing this work, right? Are you lifting weights, or are you doing the cardio? Again, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of time. One thing gets you to where you need to be going, the other gets you to nowhere. And the other thing too, like I say, is if you go out there and you're doing all this little work, is you learn all the small skills, all the small things that are involved. Things like, you know, making sure that you're punctual. Things like making sure that your billing is done properly. Like all of the little things. And that's like, you know, with me doing spinning class. You go to spinning class, and when you're in spinning class, you know, doing the cardio, there's a lot of other people in the room. And the other people in the room, they have their little tips and tricks. They have their own little ways of doing things. And you're like, I'm gonna steal some of that. Ooh, that looks like a good thing to do. Ooh, I'm gonna do that too. Whereas you have the really fat person sitting out there on the weight machines all alone, not really interacting with anybody else, and they're just gonna be all alone up until they give up because they're not really getting to where they want to be. Right? Real world here, real world. And the other thing too, like I say, is it's kind of like that whole thing with talking about the fat people and having the muscle underneath, is that a lot of times you're stronger than you realize. This is one of the biggest frustrations I have with a lot of you guys, is you keep saying like, what's next? Like what certification do I need to get next? What do I need to do next? And like some of you folks, I look at it and like, you know enough. You know enough to go out there and start doing work and start getting paid. In another year, I'm not saying you won't get to a dead end and you'll need to learn something else. You'll need a bridge of some sort. But like right now, you're good enough. Again, like I said, if you know how to repair computers, you're good enough to start. If you know how to build basic websites or WordPress sites, you're good enough to start. If you really want to get into gadget repair, which I would highly argue against, but let's say you know how to swap screens, that's good enough to start. And then, like I say, you may find out that you actually have all the strength that you need. Again, if you go into computer repair, that's going to be a dead end. We can have an argument about when the dead end will be, but that's going to be a dead end. But the thing is, if you go into web design, I am telling you guys, what is so fucking frustrating is that so many people dismiss the idea of web design when that is something that is truly relatively easy with an insanely high profit margin, which will also be around for the next decade. I know everybody's like, well, what about Squarespace and Wix? And believe me, anybody using Squarespace and Wix wasn't gonna hire a professional anyway. But most people, like I say, most business owners, they have more important things to do than figure out how to use Squarespace. They'll pay you $1,000 simply so that it's your problem. It's, you know, it's like, I pay $55 every time the lawn mowing people come to mow my lawn. I don't do that because I can't mow my lawn. I can mow my damn lawn. But they've got the equipment. Like when I looked at mowing the lawn, so I've got that 3 acres, most of it's swampland, but a chunk of it is still land, right? And in order to go out and buy a riding lawnmower, in order to go out and buy the weed whacker that I would need, in order to go out and buy all the equipment up to Eli's standards, it would cost me about $3,000. And then on top of the $3,000, if you buy good equipment, it does have to get tuned up every year or so. You need gasoline to power it, so on and so forth. And then, if I decide to mow my own lawn, then I've actually got to go out there and mow my own lawn. And even with a decent riding lawnmower, let's say it takes like an hour or 2 a week. Probably for me, I'll be a little lazy, so let's say it takes a total of 2 hours a week. So I look at it and it's like, so this lawn mowing person is willing to pay, I can pay them $55 and they do it. So let's look at a normal summer. So normal summer, they only mow when they need to mow. One of the good parts about that, and here in the Maryland area, we have a lot of drought conditions many years. But let's say we have 4 months of good rain, and so the grass is growing. Oh, I don't know. Let's say 5 months. Let's say 20 weeks, right? So if you look at it, it's 20 weeks, and so 10 weeks would be $550. So for a year, that comes out to $1,100 to pay them to mow my lawn. And now I know some of you guys are like, oh my God, Eli, that's ridiculous, $1,100 to mow a lawn. But remember, it would cost me $3,000 to buy all the equipment to mow the lawn. Plus I'd have to pay for gas, plus I'd have to pay for tune-ups, plus I'd have to do it for myself. So basically, if I get this person just to do it, they can do it for, it'll come out to the same cost like after 3 years. And then you got to think about it, what's your time worth, what's the energy worth? And so like I say, for me, screw it, here's $55, just deal with it, right? And this is the type of thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like I say, with business owners, you say, for a business owner, well, why would they pay me $1,000 or however much money to build a website when they can just go to Squarespace? And the reason is, it's because they got better shit to do. Again, this is what is so frustrating about the modern world, and how the modern world is all about employees whining and bitching and moaning and saying me, 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 me. And the reason is because when employees only focus on themselves, they miss the fact that bosses and CEOs and all these managers are actually real people too, with real families, and that they have better crap to do in a day, right? So just because you think $1,000 is an insane amount of money, if you have a CEO or a business owner, and the business owner is sitting there and they're like, well, I can pay this person $1,000 and I'll have a website done in a week or two. Or, on top of the 50 hours a week I'm working, I can then try to figure out how to build a website. God help me if I do it wrong. And that'll only take another 10 hours or 20 hours out of my life to do. And then once I do that, well, my wife is gonna start giving me shit because now I'm working 60 hours a week. And we made that promise that I was only supposed to be doing 45 hours, but I am doing 50 hours. But I'm kind of getting around that promise because, I told her 45 hours. And whenever you have an argument with a wife, you always expect a little bit of a cushion. So if I'm supposed to do 45 hours and I do 50 hours, well, she's gonna understand that. She'll understand 50 hours. She'll go fucking batshit at 60 hours. You know what I'm saying? And then my kids are gonna be like, oh, what? Oh, building a website for your company that was far more important than seeing me at my football practice. And so the boss is just thinking about this in their head. It's like, okay, well, I can pay somebody $1,000 or more to deal with this, and it's done. Or I can try to save that money and then deal with all of this other horse crap. Hey, guess what? And so what you find out is, like with a lot of you guys, is you guys already have the experience and the, a lot of the technical aptitude that's required to do very well. You just don't think of it that way. Again, like I say, with a lot of YouTube content creators, they're really funny. Like YouTube content creators, I don't know. I'm just really pissed at YouTube. I'm just like pissy with the whole YouTube community right now. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's kind of funny. Like for like 6 years, I talked about not really being part of the community. And then, or I was like 5 years. So like 5 years, I wasn't really part of the community. And then like last year, I kind of got involved with the YouTube community. But then now it just feels like in the last couple of months, it's just going downhill into just whininess fast. Everything from reaction videos to drama alert videos to, you know, where's the fair use and all that kind of crap. But anyway, so you got all these YouTubers out there and they're all crying, I don't make any money, I don't make any money. It's like, yeah, well, maybe you're just so whiny, nobody wants to watch you. But regardless, one of the things I talk about with a lot of people, a lot of the business people that want to get into YouTube, is it's like actually becoming somebody like me with 660,000 subscribers who makes a real paycheck off of YouTube is a bit of a hit or miss thing. Again, why you guys listen to me, I have no idea. Like, what is bizarre to me is like on this channel, on Fail Normal, do you guys know your average view time is now 17 fucking minutes? That's ridiculous. Like, I don't get a lot of views, so you do have to caveat that a little bit. But 17 minutes view time. So you have somebody, you're a YouTube content creator, and you come to me and you're like, Eli, how do I be successful? I mean, the answer I really have is I don't know. I don't know. I can talk to you about thumbnails. I can talk to you about the length of your videos. I can talk to you about like video SEO and all that kind of crap. But like how do you actually become successful? I don't know, and that's the thing. Like in the computer repair industry, it's pretty simple. Or in building websites, like if you want to come to me and build a web design business, that's the type of thing. That's paint by numbers. We just sit down, we run through all the steps. You follow the steps. You go on vacation to South Beach in a year. It's really pretty simple. Again, like I say, computer repair, basically the same thing. You know, a lot of these IT services, basically, you know, they're all paint by numbers. Again, as a YouTube content creator, I don't know. You look at who is successful and who fails miserably, and I can't tell the difference. I have watched a lot of content over the past year, all kinds of different content, everything from video game people to others to like Jinx. I was watching Jinx. You know, like Jinx gets like 120,000 views on his videos. What the fuck, right? How? And again, and not only that, but even the people that are good, like Grade A Under A, because I've been talking to him about it. But you know, again, he's up to like 1.2 million subscribers right now. So you're like, Eli, how do I become successful? And it's like, well, I guess you can draw stick figures and make snarky comments. That seems to get you successful. Or Drama Alert, Keemstar. Again, whatever you think about Keemstar, I like Keemstar to be honest with you, but whatever you think about Keemstar, again, he's up to like 1.3 million subscribers. It's ridiculous. Like every time I watch a Drama Alert video, and he's up by like 30,000 subscribers like per day. And so you're like, well, how do you, it's like, I don't know. I have no idea how that works. How is Keemstar successful? I don't get it. But again, he is. One of the things is you have all these content creators. Oh, Eli. And one of the things I say is, well, think about the skills that you already have, and then think about how you can use them in a way that will be profitable. So going out there and again, becoming a YouTube celebrity or whatever, who the hell knows how that works? But here's the thing. You have all of these skills for creating videos, right? Let's say you're Big Nate 84. You're like Big Nate 84, and I was talking to Big Nate 84 about this, and you're like, I want to make money off of YouTube. I want to become successful. And here's the thing. You can go in there and you can make some bets and you can try some things out, and who the hell knows it'll work. Or you can take your skills with video cameras, you can take your skills with lighting, you can take your skills with audio and all that kind of stuff, and you can go out there and you can sell your services to create videos for other companies. And you're like, what? And think about this. Every modern company, like videos are kind of like where websites were back in 2005, where like there's just this idea you need a website. You're like in 2005, many people didn't have websites, and a lot of companies really didn't need websites, but they have this feeling that they should have a website. So a lot of companies spend a lot of money building websites, basically just to put up their hours of operation. You know, for like warehouse companies that nobody cared about their hours of operation. But, you know, that's what they felt like they should have a website to be professional. And so one of the things is like having videos now is something that a lot of people feel like they should have in order to be successful. So if you want to be successful, if you want to make money and be a video content creator, again, if you can get out of your own weird little brain, if you can get out to what the real world is, you have the skills to go to roofing companies, you have the skills to go to auto repair companies, you have the skills to go to gardening and landscaping companies, create videos for them and sell them the product. Again, $500 or $1,000 for a video. And you're like, oh, well, who would pay that? But think about it, right? So you've got all these video skills. And so, so let's say you go to a landscaping company. Video is a great way to show off all the projects that they've done. So you can go out there with a video, frankly, with a $200 video camera. You don't tell them it's a $200 video camera. You tell them it's an ultra special, ultra light camera directly shipped from Japan. Don't say anything about Best Buy or Target or any of that crap, right? But you go out with a video camera. Basically, the setup that I have here, you go out, you videotape all the beautiful landscaping projects that they've done. You use Final Cut or whatever the hell video editor you have. You cut that into a nice video. You use some open source or royalty-free or whatever music to lay over it. And then they have a video that they can post on their website to demonstrate how cool and awesome their products are. Again, the same thing is like with roofing or with decks or any of that. You know, if you're dealing with a deck company, you go, you say, you ask, prior clients of the deck company, yeah, can I come and just videotape, let's say 10 of them? And you go and you videotape 10 of them, and then the deck company pays you $1,000. And the reason is because decks cost a lot of money. I mean, my deck cost $80,000. And again, one of the reasons I talk about money in this is, again, to get your guys' heads around how much money is in certain things. So I have a super cool deck. It is 1,000 square foot deck, 10 feet off the ground, all composite, everything, steel reinforced pillars, basically literally about as good as you can buy. Like the only option I left out was I could have just made it bigger, right? But again, that was like a $90,000 deck. Like seriously, the deck, not everything else, the deck. And so you think about it, so you're like, wow, crap, a deck costs $90,000. And so for them to spend $1,000 or more for a few videos showing off the quality of their work really is nothing. And again, like with mine, it was so expensive because it used composite. But even if they hadn't used composite, even if they had just used pressure treated wood, it still would have been like $40,000 or something, right? You know, the garage, I have a new garage. The garage costs $50,000. $50,000 for a garage. So again, if they believe in what you're doing, if they believe that you creating a video will actually be valuable to them, spending $1,000 to create a little montage video so that they can use it for advertising really isn't nothing but a thing. And think about it. Think about everybody listening to this right now. Do you think you could do decent video editing? Again, it's not real time. It's not like you're dealing with a real-time event, so you have to worry about, special audio and video concerns. Like literally, it's the equivalent of it's like taking a picture with a video camera. You decide what light in the day is best. You go out, again, like I say, if you're gonna do video shots of, let's say, 10 places, you start, every day you go out and you take, a few minutes of video everywhere. Then you go home, again, whatever video editing software you want, you turn that into a nice little montage and away you go. Or like interviews. Again, as I say, I'm getting paid by this company called INE, who does Cisco CCIE training, and I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna sit and I'm going to talk with people, and they are going to videotape it. Why? Because they like my personality, right? So I'm just gonna sit there and chat. And so one of the things you can be thinking about doing, like what are the products that you can sell clients? Like, what if you sat there and you interviewed their CEO, or their salespeople for the company, then you spliced it so it all looks nice and perfect. Again, $1,000 is chump change. $1,000 is nothing, and they may actually be valuable to them. Again, and when you think about advertising costs, like when I got an ad in the city paper, so the city paper here in the Baltimore area is like one of these free newspapers, arts and entertainment newspapers, very prominent, right? But I got one on the inside, which a lot of people didn't see, and that cost $425 per week. It was like a minimum 6-month buy, right? So when I bought that was like $12,000 required. Thunk. right? When I bought my billboards cost me anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000 a piece. Thunk. When I bought radio ads, when I bought TV ads, when I paid for AdWords, when I did all that stuff, it all costs money. So again, if you come in and you have something reasonably priced that makes a lot of sense to people, right? And that is knowledge that you already have. You already have that muscle. You don't realize the muscle you already have, because you're just so focused on going out there and like I say, getting the certifications and all these little gold stars and everything. What you need to be doing is you need to be doing cardio. And really, like I say, in the business world, when I say cardio, it actually is a lot of cardio, as in going out, knocking on doors, putting up door hangers, if that's what you do in the area, whatever. I mean, that's really what you need to go out. You need to go out there and you need to get that exercise. You need to let people know that you can do it, and that's what will get you ahead. Again, it's not the idea of, lifting weights or gaining that extra muscle. It's that just going out there and doing, being active, right? So that's the thought for today. Toning, because it really was funny, like reading all those little blog posts about toning, and they were just mean. They were just like snarky, like bitchy. It's like, maybe you guys need to go drink your protein shakes before you write blog posts, because it really did. I plugged in toning muscles or something, and all 3 posts were like, oh my god, these guys are going like all diva or whatever on it. But it is true. They were just saying, hey, you're not really doing it with the muscle. What you're doing is you're reducing your fat in order to show off what's underneath. So if you want to tone muscle, get away from the weight machines and go do some more cardio. Now, for anybody out there, hold on a sec, hold on. For anybody out there that are super exercise fitness buffs, I know there is more that goes into this than I am saying. Do realize when I do these vlogs, I kind of have to streamline the comments. I'm sorry, I have to streamline the commentary so that it fits into the storyline. So if you're going to go out there and you're going to exercise and get in shape, go out and do your own research, get your own personal trainer. Yes, I know there's some people right now like, he's not saying it right. He's not saying it right. I'm like, oh, calm the fuck down. But anyways, that is the thought today for toning and all that. This is absolutely beautiful. It is now like, what is it? It is like 5:16. And it's just great. Like, I feel good. It's not like, oh, I came out in a t-shirt and now it's gotten cold, so I guess I'll deal with it. It's like, no, this feels really good. This feels nice. Oh, something for you guys to know. If any of you guys buy the Surge, this is not supposed to be how you wear it. This is specifically not supposed to be how you wear it, but in order to get your heart rate to actually measure correctly, this is how you have to wear it. It's really weird. Like on the help forums, they tell you how you're supposed to wear your Surge, and they say it's supposed to be on the back of your wrist, and that's where it'll give the most accurate heart readings, and that's a load of crap. I had it on there, like I say, for about the past 2 weeks while I've had it, and it's like I'll be like halfway through a spinning class, like sweat will be pouring down my face, and then it'll say like my beats per minute's like 89. You're like, motherfucker, it is not 89. And so I did a lot of different things, and I switched it around, and what I have found is you're not, like I say, they very specifically say this is not how you're supposed to wear it in order to get a good beat per minute rate, but this is how it works for me. So if you're gonna get one of these, just kind of keep that in mind. Oh, beyond that, let's see, not much else is going on. Tomorrow is supposed to be my first meetup. I don't think it's actually going to happen because nobody has signed up for it yet. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to start doing meetups again. Now, some of you guys might be like, wait a minute, haven't you tried to do meetups in the past? And yes, I have tried to do meetups in the past. But again, from every failure you have, you learn very specific lessons about what works and what doesn't work. And so in the past, what I found is, I think for me, the meetups that I try to do were way too free-form. Basically get people together and whatever happens, happens. And I'm just not kind of a free-formy type person. So what I'm doing with the meetups now is, I guess people kind of call it like a mastermind group. But the idea, since I have a lot of people that want to meet with me anyway and do Skype meetings and whatnot, is you can come and you can meet with me in person. So we're going to be at Wegmans at Hunt Valley. And so go there. And then everybody who comes, you get like 10 minutes of my undivided attention. And so the idea is like, so we have a table, right? So we have a table that we sit down at Wegmans, and then the person who's asking questions is like to my left or to my right. I don't know, we'll figure that out once we're there. And then they've got 10 minutes, and so they can go through and they can ask specifically whatever questions they have, and they get my undivided attention, and they get my undivided advice. The cool part about this then is, since there are other people around the table, everybody at the table gets to learn based on the issues other people are having. And then afterwards, I don't want people interrupting the whole conversation thing, because that'll just turn into a mess. But then afterwards, people can then go up to the people and say, oh, I see you're trying to launch a web design business. You know what? I have a friend of mine who needs a website built, or I have resources, or I have things to talk to you about. So the idea is we all sit around. I'm talking to the person there very specifically, everybody else is listening, and then once that's over, then people can be dragged off to the side and go, oh, let me give you some advice. And again, the main reason that I'm doing that is lessons learned, is when you let everybody talk at the same time, everybody talks at the same time. Like, again, I'm not trying to be a prima donna with this, but the issue that you run into, especially when you get somebody like me, is people's egos get involved. And so what happens is they start trying to talk over people like me. So like, if you're sitting there and it's your 10 minutes and I allow other people to talk, what happens is you say your bit, I start saying something, and then somebody in the table like tries to jump in and basically hijack the conversation. I know what you should do, and it's like just like, shut up. No offense to anybody here. Anybody here who wants to create their own meetup, God bless. I will support them. I will advertise them. But this is about me and the person sitting across, right? And so that's kind of my thought with that. As far as cost or whatever for the meetup goes, is I have decided that I will charge $5 a head for the meetup. And that's basically to make sure that people actually, in fact, show up to the meetup. One of the problems that I've seen in the past is that when you do things for free, especially when they're open, people say they're going to show up, and then they don't. And again, I mean, it's understandable. It's one of those things like, if the only barrier to entry, or the only barrier to signing up is simply clicking the RSVP button, a lot of people will click the RSVP button and then not actually go, right? Because, hey, what are you going to lose? What are you going to lose? You don't show up, you ain't going to lose anything. Where oddly enough, if you charge them even like $5, it makes them think a little bit. Do I want to actually plug in my credit card information for this thing? Because that's one of the big things with doing this meetup, is I'm happy to do it. Again, I enjoy talking with people and doing this kind of stuff, but I don't want to drive all the way there and then not have anybody show up. That would kind of suck. And then the other thing came up where some people said, but Eli, you know, you're charging $5 for this. You know, what if you give a refund when people come? You know, you charge them $5 and then you give it back to them. And I kind of laughed when I heard that. And it was kind of like one of those things, again, where I just think people don't understand the value of some stuff sometimes, where it's like, look, I'm going to spend at least 2 hours a week, if this goes off, 2 hours every Wednesday doing this. I'm going to spend the gas money to drive to this place. I'm going to be 2 hours there. I'm going to buy my own dinner. So for me to do this thing, you know, a gallon of gas probably, which is $2, plus buying my own dinner is $8. So it's going to cost me $10. Plus I have to pay for the meetup fee, which is $20 a month. So, you know, if I go 4 times, you know, that's $60. That's coming out of my pocket. And so it's kind of one of those things, like, if people don't feel like chipping in $5 so I can do this, I just don't think those are the people that I really want to be dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand there's this whole, you know, saving money and cost effective and all that kind of stuff. And then there's just being cheap bastards. If I'm willing to take my time and energy and do this, and literally put $60 of my money on the table, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, a base case scenario with this, and like $5 a pop, I don't imagine it's going to be a huge profit center regardless, right? Because even if you have 10 people, let's say you have 10 people show up, that's $50. But remember, there's transaction fees. So it's not $50, it's probably like $45. Again, times 4, be $160, be $180 for a month if 10 people show up every single time. Then again, you take out so it's 180. So we take out the 60. So basically, I might reasonably clear $120 a month doing this at $5 a head. It is not exactly going to buy me my condo in South Beach, if you understand, if you get my drift, you know what I'm saying? So that's the thing, like if people are not willing to spend $5, if they're not willing to spend the money that would cost for a Frappuccino to meet with me and to get the advice, then it's just not worth it to them, right? And again, that's one thing you have to think about when dealing with people, is if people put zero value, zero monetary value on what you're doing, then why the hell do you want to do it? Again, we can quibble about whether you should charge $25 an hour or $125 an hour. You're gonna lose the quibble, but we can quibble there. But like once you start getting down to these really small denominations, again, like I say, $5 or even $10, if people aren't even willing to spend $10 for what you're doing, then that really shows the value they put on it. And now I know a lot of people are like, well, Eli, it's not all about money. It's not all about money. There's something bigger than money. And again, when you're talking about $1,000, when you're talking about a couple $100, fine, I might buy that a little bit. We're talking about $5. If people aren't willing to put $5 on the table, yeah. And again, this isn't like an international thing where, you know, somebody's from like India and they can't afford $5. You know, it's all local area. Again, in Baltimore, I mean, what is it? Minimum wage is like $8 an hour or something. So, you know, half an hour's worth of salary. Seems like it should be reasonable. If I'm not worth half an hour's worth of minimum wage salary, I think I will stay at home and drink my bedtime tea. But tomorrow is supposed to be the first day of it. Nobody's signed up yet, so it probably won't happen. And then we'll just go from there. Basically, what I've decided is I've booked it out. So every Wednesday at 6 o'clock going forward at Wegmans. And I like Wegmans because Wegmans is this cool grocery store where they have a second floor. And on the second floor, they just have this huge open space that you can basically just use. It's for like eating. So again, everybody buys some water or food or whatever, but it's like this huge, just open area. So you can go up there, you can get, like I say, you can very easily grab a table, shove 10 people around it. As long as people are eating or whatever, you spend an hour or two, nobody cares. So that'll be a very good thing. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep going into the future. And see, again, as I say, I'm willing to throw a couple of bucks, see how experiments work. This is a good idea. I really think this is a good idea because it solves a lot of the issues that I've been looking at without some of the problems, again. So people get to meet me in person. People supposedly like to do that. People get to then network with other people. Again, like I say, that should be useful. And then again, as I say, it's not just freewheeling, do whatever the hell. There's actually a purpose there. So like the Skype meetings have worked out very well. You come to Skype, you sign on the Skype meeting, you already have your list of questions. We just run through your questions. So with me, again, with my little weird Aspie brain, like I say, just sitting there and shooting the shit, like talking about the weather, I really don't like doing. But focusing on problems, like talking about the weather, talking about your kids, I really don't care about. On the other hand, you come in and you say, well, how these are the products that I offer. I want to try to increase my profit margin by 50%. What can we do here? Yeah, that motherfuckers is something that I would be very interested in talking about. And so we will see how it goes. Maybe it'll be successful, maybe not. The other thing that I thought was kind of interesting, so the Silicon Discourse, my idea also with it too, is if this works out, which I think it should in the long run, I say. Next couple of weeks may suck, but we'll see. Is that, so I do like Silicon Discourse, ETCG, for Eli the Computer Guy. And then my thought is, for some of you guys out there who are professionals, like if it works out, and again, I come up with a workflow and how it does, I'm more than happy for other people to use Silicon Discourse. And so, like they could do their own things. Like you could become the expert of your area, like Silicon Discourse Nate, right? So if you're in the Boston area and you want to learn about audiovisual stuff, like Nate could have, you know, once a month or whatever, he buys his own meetup package, and then he goes and basically does the same thing. And it's a way that you can become an expert without it being, you know, too tedious on your time. So you become like the subject matter expert. People come to you, and again, they spend $5 to come to you to get a question answered. And then if you answer it the right way, the next question they might be asking is, so if I give you $5,000, could you just build this damn thing for me? And so that was kind of my thought with that. Like I say, we will see how it goes. Because that's kind of what, like, I'm trying to think of like, how do you start like a movement or something, right? So my reach is much farther than my grasp. It's an American saying that basically that you have effects on people and things like well outside of where you can actually touch. And so one of the things like I have found over the past 10 years is that is something that I have. Like there's just something like when I say things and when I communicate, that communication goes a lot further than I would prefer, frankly, half the time, right? I mean, like there are effects of the things that I say that go well outside the realm of what I should be able to affect. But the problem is like I've been thinking about how to grow things, like that whole idea of scaling. And what I found is I just don't really want to deal with people in that scaling way. I don't want to manage people. I don't want to supervise people. Again, I'm good at leadership. If there's a mountain to get to the top of, and I have a team, and everybody on the team knows why the hell they're there. Again, I don't care why they're there. You know, whatever their reasons, whether it's selfish, whether it's good, whether it's evil, I don't care, but they know why they're there. We have an objective to reach, then I'm your leader. But explaining to people why they should reach the objective or whatever else, I don't care. It's like, it's there. That's the goal. Are we going for it or not? All right. And so what I was kind of thinking, like with the whole Silicon Discourse thing, is could I then try to create like a movement? So like a movement is more the idea of trying to get other people, again, to basically communicate more about technology and business. Right? So instead of me going out there and trying to manage people who run Silicon Discourse meetups, basically kind of make it a free-for-all thing, and the people that are successful doing it will be successful, and the people that aren't. And it's just this whole idea. It's like, hey, look, you're a technology professional. You're skilled at what you do. We've come up with this little format. If you would like to do it in your area, this is the workflow that we use. This is how we do it, and there you go. Go do it. We have no liability for whatever you do. We have no insurance for whatever you do. It is basically just a name. So again, instead of being like an organization or a business, it's a movement. It's like a Silicon Discourse movement. Yeah, this is what Eli thinks about on sunny days. How do you create movements? And so that's my thought. We will see how it goes. First, I have to get this meetup working before anything else happens. What's really weird, though, is like when I was doing the Silicon Trailer thing before, I had like all of these people like wanting to meet me. Like as soon as I put out a message saying that I was doing, meetings with Silicon Trailer, like everywhere I went, I got lots of communication. So now I do this meetup thing, and I kind of expected a little more interest than I've gotten so far, but. Who knows? We shall see. We shall see how it goes. It's all an experiment. But anyways, with that, we will call it a day, and I will see you folks tomorrow on an even nicer and sunnier day. Tomorrow is going to be like 75 degrees. It should be absolutely awesome.